Hello, everybody. Hello. Hi, people. Happy Friday. I'm going to see who's on here. I feel like my music's too loud, but it's all right. We're going to go with it. Hi, everybody. Somebody's on here, so y'all know the drill. Tell me if you can hear me. I'm sure you can see me. But let me know that you can hear me, and I am going to get started. Hey, Mario. Yes, you know the drill. You know the drill. Hey, y'all. I haven't seen you guys in a while. We have not talked, and I'm excited because it's been a while. Hey, Fallon. Y'all come on in. Y'all know once I know that y'all can see me and hear me, I am going to get started. So Mario said that you can. So we're going to go get started. Happy Friday. Happy Juneteenth, because I wasn't on here for Juneteenth. Happy almost halfway through the month. Hey, Nicole. Halfway through the year. Y'all, we are almost halfway through 2020. Like in a couple of days, we will hit the end of June, and it'll officially be our halfway mark of the year. And it's been quite a year. But, hey, Lisa. The good thing is that we are still here. Like, if you watching this video, you made it. You're still here. Hey, Battle. And so I'm excited. We are going to hop right in. Like I said, y'all know I've started recording on 2 devices because of the podcast. So I'm going to hit play and then we in there. So if this is your first time watching, welcome to Singles Exchange. We are an online community that focuses on conversations, connections, and community. And, you know, when we have our live sessions like this, we just talking. So if you're watching, I definitely need you to comment. Do me a favor, like this video, share this video, all of that good stuff. If you have not checked out any previous podcast episodes, this weekend is a good time to catch up. Hey, Avi, I see you on here too. This weekend is a good time to catch up. So this week's podcast episode was called Single and Safe. I'm not going to give you any real details because I want you to watch or listen. If you prefer to watch instead of listen, then you can go to YouTube. The videos are posted a week after the podcast. So Single and Safe will be on YouTube this coming Tuesday. And you can always listen and check it out on Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts or whatever your podcast preference is. So typically I ask for questions and, you know, you guys put them in the comments and we just talk. I asked for questions a couple of days ago, so I'm going to go through my list in no specific order. But we only have 1, 2, 3. We only got like 5 questions, so we'll definitely be able to tackle those today. Invite a friend and let's exchange. So I think I want to start with Lisa's question. Lisa asked about online dating. So she said, how do you know if online dating is for you? What are some expectations you should have? When is the right time to meet up? Do you bring a friend along for safety reasons? Lisa, that was a mouthful, but we're going to tackle it one piece at a time. So, and again, y'all bear with me because I have several devices up, but we're going to tackle it. So, as far as online dating, if you are a frequent exchanger, then you know that I have really crappy experience with online dating. Hey, Raquel. I do not have good experience with online dating. And that doesn't mean that I don't think that you should do it, because I know a lot of people who online dating works for. I'm just not one of those people. I think that I just had bad experiences. And so how would I know that online dating is or is not for me is my bad experiences. I don't have a lot of patience as is. I am also not the person that is like a serial dater. It's hard for me to date multiple people. What I mean by that is there are some people who are serial daters. They go on a date with a different person every day or every week or whatever. I'm not able to keep up like that. I'll be very honest with you. I can't talk to multiple people. Like, if I'm talking to somebody, that's the person that I'm going to talk to, just because I can't keep up. So that's me living in my truth for this Friday. But I think that online dating is for people who have the patience to do it. You definitely have to be willing to go through some frogs, because not everybody meets the love of their life after one encounter. Some people swipe right and that person ends up being their lifelong partner. I didn't have that experience, but it's for somebody. I think that if you are going to date online, like I said, you need to expect to not necessarily meet the love of your life on the first go round. You need to also be patient, because it's gonna require time. If you're only talking to somebody online, if you're not getting that in-person encounter just yet, then you have to take that into account. For me, I'm a person that likes to read body language. I like to see your facial expressions and all of that. So you have to be patient, because it's hard to read a person online or over the phone. Y'all excuse me because I've been talking all day. But I'm going to be all right. So you have to have some patience. You have to understand that the cadence or the pace of the conversation may not be what you're used to. Like I said, I'm struggling with my voice today, but y'all bear with me. So the cadence of the conversation may not be necessarily what you would like, but you have to be patient, because just like you are learning this person and you're trying to get to know them, they're trying to get to know you. So they're trying to gauge how much you let in, or how much you let them in, how much you tell them, how much you don't tell them. Like, it's like everything in dating already, but times two. That's how I view online dating. Is you everything is heightened because it doesn't start as an in-person interaction. The next part of Lisa's question was, when is the right time to meet up? And I think that depends on the person. There are some people who talk for months. I do think that for most people, you shouldn't go more than a month just texting or just talking on the phone, unless distance prohibits. If they are a significant distance away, then you may not be able to meet up in a month. But if they are like in the same city or same vicinity as you, I wouldn't go too long with just texting and just talking on the phone, because it's easy to get bored and it's easy to start to wander and to talk to other people. Y'all know I like to read comments. So Lisa says she can't date multiple people either. Too much energy. Listen, I understand. Mario says, depending on the dating sites you're using as well. Some of these sites make me be like, I know damn well I graduated college and I know technology, but what are you asking me to do? So I agree. The initial setup for a lot of those sites are really intense. It's necessary, but it's intense. So like, I think it's Plenty of Fish where they ask you a bunch of like random questions. Like, are you a neat person or a messy person or a kind of tidy person? Hey, Shay. They ask you all of these things to see what kind of person you are. Are you a religious person? Are you a smoker? Are you a drinker? And the more that you answer those questions, the more specifically they can match you with people. So it's good to answer those questions and go through those long, extensive surveys. But I'll be honest, they do feel like really long, really extensive, really intrusive. Like, there are some things that I want a person to organically learn about me. I don't want them to read a profile and think they know all there is to know about me, because I'm more than just a piece of paper. So, online dating and in-person dating definitely have their pros and their cons. But yeah, I don't know if it's for me. I'll be very honest. She said, when is the right time to meet up? Like I said, I wouldn't wait too long unless unless you feel like this person is not legit. And then even if you're going to meet up with somebody, whenever you choose to, meet in a public place. What else? Meet in a public place. The follow-up question was, take a friend along for safety reasons. Honestly, I think it depends. I know for me, whenever I'm meeting up with somebody to go on a date and this is a new person, I have a set group of people, and I text all of the info that I have, like first and last name, phone number, make and model of the car, license plate number, where they work, if I have that information. And I share my location with them because I have an iPhone. I can do that. So I think it just kind of depends. I am not comfortable bringing a friend with me, but I would at least make sure that somebody knows where I am and can track my location until I text them like, hey, I'm home, I'm good, or whatever. I'm reading some comments again. Lisa says they still send me people that's the complete opposite. Listen, and that's the thing. Those surveys are just that, it's a survey. It's faulty to an extent because they're trying to narrow it down to, a messy. I know their algorithms are different. So some algorithms say opposites attract, and some of their algorithms are set up to where they are matching people who are similar. So it's not always accurate. Nicole agreed. 85% of the time, yeah, it don't be good. So, again, if you're on here, like, share, comment, send this to your friends, share, tell them to hop on here and talk to us, because we just talking tonight. And y'all, please continue to talk to me in the comments. Yeah, so for me, like I said, for Joy, online dating is a no. Yes, Shay, I got my nails done. Online dating is a no. But I know some people who have some really great love stories from online dating. And I plan to feature some of those people in some upcoming podcast episodes. But I'm not going to tell y'all who, and I'm not going to tell y'all when. You just got to watch. So, yeah. We're moving on. Lachey, and I'm glad she is on here cutting up in the comments because her question is next. Thank you, Raquel, because they acting up. Thank you, Lisa. So Lachey's question is how to set boundaries or define dating. There's a lot of ways that I could go with this, but when I am talking to somebody, when we are in the stage of getting to know each other, the boundary is that we're getting to know each other. So we are just friends. We are not hanging out at each other's house. Definitely not in each other's bedroom. All that good stuff. We just friends. We hang out in public or in group settings because we're getting to know each other. We may text and talk on the phone, but that's it. As far as moving forward, once he says, I like you and I want to exclusively date you, and once I agree to that, or vice versa, once somebody says they want to exclusively date and the other person agrees, then we can set boundaries. Because it depends on each individual person. Some people say that if I talk on the phone to you every night, we dating. Some people say, you know, we can talk on the phone every night and we not be dating. We just friends that like to talk. Listen, know who you are. That's a big part of it, Raquel. So Raquel said first know who you are. And I agree. If you don't know who you are, you can't set no boundaries for somebody else. You have to know what you want. And that's not saying that what you want won't change. Because what I wanted at 21 and almost 31 are totally different. But boundaries begin with you, as Lisa just said in the comments. Boundaries begin with you as a person, not with them. If you set a boundary that you know you're not going to follow, then just don't set that boundary. Don't even lie to yourself like that, because, yeah, it's a waste of time. Yes, Lisa, you can absolutely overstep your own boundaries. Ain't that crazy? We set boundaries, we say we're not going to do things, and then we turn around and do them. Like, yeah, we be tripping. So, hey, Trin. We be tripping. Set boundaries that you know that you can attain. Hey, Braxton. If you cannot keep your own boundaries, you need to work on yourself first. Because it's easy to say, my boundaries is X, Y, Z. But if you don't follow it, why do you expect them to follow it? You have to lead by example. Raquel says, have an end goal. Lisa says, know what you want, period. Learn yourself so that you can know what you want. And I agree with Raquel. You need to have some type of end goal. How long are you willing to date somebody without dating exclusively? Are you willing to date somebody for a year and just be talking to them? Are you willing to date somebody for 2 years and just be talking and have no strings attached? Like I said, there are some people that I like to say serial daters, but, you know, they're just people that are freely dating. And that's okay. But are you that person? And are you okay with it? Lisa says, know what you want. And not knowing is okay, but don't bring others in when you don't know. And I agree with that too. If you have not established within yourself what you want, and if you cannot stand firmly on that, you're probably not ready to date. You need to figure out some things within you first. Lachey says, it's definitely hard to set boundaries sometimes. Hey, Nella. It's definitely hard to set boundaries sometimes after you've kind of lived in the moment, trying to figure out how you vibe with a person, then going back, revisiting the boundary conversation. I agree. So that's what I was saying earlier about you have to set boundaries that you are going to maintain, because having to set a boundary and then you allow that boundary to be broken and then you try to reset it, it's going to be tough. Raquel says, no sex before marriage, but ain't no spending the night, little daddy. And that's what I'm saying. Know your boundaries. If your boundary is no sex before marriage, and you know that if you going to lay up with that person, it's a done deal, they probably shouldn't even come in your house. To thine own self be true. Y'all know that's one of my favorite Shakespeare quotes. And it's accurate. To thine own self be true. Don't lie to yourself. You wasting your own time. Anything else? Anything else to say? Lisa says boundaries aren't permanent. They can definitely change as you grow. And that's the thing, Lisa. Some boundaries are permanent and some are fluid. You have to be able to establish what is a hard boundary and what is a fluid boundary. Is this currently a boundary because we're in the early stages of dating, or is this a boundary that you are not ever allowed to cross? Because I have some boundaries that you can never cross. You can't never call me no B word. Some people like that word. It's a term of endearment for them. I do not subscribe to that belief. So that is a permanent boundary for me. But a fluid boundary is kissing. Because now you can't kiss me on the third date. But if we've been exclusively dating for 6 months, of course we kissing, because that's just me. So I think that if you're gonna determine boundaries for dating, you have to, like we said before, determine them within yourself, and maybe sit down and actually write them out. These are my hard boundaries. These are the lines that you are never allowed to cross. These are my fluid boundaries. These are boundaries that can change or be broken as time permits. Okay, I'm going to read some comments. Mario said, told y'all weeks ago, having these Jesus and Virgin Mary boundaries and rules is more for teenagers. I'm hollering. Lachey, sorry, I'm reading comments. Raquel says, good point. You still have that right to set boundaries. You owe it to yourself to set boundaries. Yes, Lisa, I agree. Yes, Raquel, I said third date. For some people, it's the first day. Some people are okay kissing on the first day. Hey, Tasha. Some people are okay with that. Some people are not. So I think you have to have a good understanding, like I said, of what are your boundaries. Are you okay with kissing on the first day? Are you okay with not kissing on the first day? Like, can you hold my hand on the first day? Because some people don't like to be touched at all. And so, of course, it should be a fluid boundary when you're dating with the intent to be romantic with them eventually. But again, establish those boundaries. Sit down and write them out if you need to, but know what they are and be able to vocalize them without like slamming a rule book at them. Because you don't want to hand somebody a rule book, but you want to be able to say, hey, this is what I'm comfortable with at this point. This is what I'm not comfortable with at this point. And Lisa said, don't touch me. There are definitely some people that just believe that they should never be touched. So listen, if that's who you are, that's okay. Anything else y'all want to say about boundaries? Mario says third date. So what happens when you're on your fourth or fifth date and they can't kiss and you all into... Listen, like I said, it works for some people. I'm not saying that everybody has to go by the third date. That's a good question, though. So can y'all drop in the comments, at what date, is it the first date, the second date, or whatever? At what date are you comfortable kissing? And is it a kiss on the cheek? Is it a kiss on the forehead? Is it a kiss on the lips? Like, what we doing? Because I got questions. And I'm not judging y'all. I just want to know. Let's do a quick poll. At what date are you comfortable allowing potential bae to kiss you? To put their lips on you? See, I got this very, very slight germaphobe living on the inside of me. So when y'all talk about putting your lips on me, I be nervous. Lisa said, teach them how to kiss. Now listen, Lisa, that you're on to something there. Because if you really like somebody, you ought to be able to kiss them. And if they don't know how to kiss you the correct way, you can teach them. It could be very fun. Nella says it depends on the vibe. She doesn't have a set date. I don't either. That's the thing. It's literally based off of when I'm comfortable. Lisa says first date if we've been vibing for a minute. But what's a minute? That's what I'm saying. Like, Shay says it depends on the vibe. Honestly, third date is cool, but it may or may not be tongue. Oh, Holy Ghost. If you knew date 3 or 4. And that's what I'm saying. I have been on dates where we kissed on the first date, and then I dated somebody that we didn't kiss for like a month and a half because I just don't know where your mouth been. And I like you, I'm vibing with you, but I mean, we're not exclusively dating. And I don't know who else you going on dates with to be kissing me. Yeah, Sharon, that's what I'm saying. Cooties. I'm not going. And that's the right now we can't kiss nobody. If you're going on a date, you ought to be wearing a mask or a face shield is extra. Y'all know I gotta go back to work in a couple weeks and I'm not ready. I think I'm gonna order me those face shields, but COVID is still real. Miss Rona is still out here, and so do you got the COVID or do you got COVID antibodies? Like, I gotta know this before we get to kissing. Pre-pandemic is probably the better way to put that. Hey, Sherris. So, yeah. Mario says 4th or 5th date, and he's talking about kissing on the forehead. Why are we dating our church members? Because, man, this not going nowhere. Listen, Again, I'm a germaphobe, and right now we in a pandemic, so germs for me are just, I can't do it. But again, if I'm vibing with you, it could very well be before the third or fourth date. But if you are a new person, like somebody I met online and we just been texting for a couple of days or something, and we just going for coffee, nah, we not kissing. And that's for me. Like I said, if you kiss on the first date, that's your business. I just I got a little bit of a problem with germs. So no judgment. Mario is clearly with the first date kiss. Okay? Avi said air kisses. Raquel said forehead. Listen, a forehead kiss can be dangerous too, but that's another story for another time. I ain't kissed nobody in a long time, so anyway. Anything else about setting boundaries? We done went on a whole tangent about kissing, and we supposed to be talking about setting boundaries. Y'all funny tonight. Real funny. Cher said kissing is gross. Cher, you be kissing your wife. Don't be acting like you don't be kissing her. Ivy said she don't have a date. We can find you one, okay? Lachey's next question, and y'all are welcome to come back to kissing if y'all want. But Lachey's next question. Oh wait, Mario commented. He said he probably is second date, but most times he's known the people a while. And I think that's fair. Like I said, it's when you're comfortable. If you know these people, you know they have good dental hygiene, then go for it. But some people you just don't know. You gotta have good. Do you brush your teeth on the regular, like every day? Do you floss? Do you use mouthwash? Like, those are all questions that need answers, even without COVID being a factor. Or their body. Listen, Ivy, they breath can't stink. And Lisa, they body show can't stink. You can't touch me if your whole body stink. Now, that's, listen. Hey, Leah, if your body stink, you don't need to be dating. You need to be bathing, okay? You got another issue. Y'all making me clown tonight. And I was not intended to get on here and clown. I just want to have a pleasant conversation with the singles exchanges. Y'all couldn't have. So the question originally was setting boundaries. Lynn, you missed a lot. We were supposed to be talking about setting boundaries, and somehow we didn't get on when is it okay to kiss, and that turned into their breath and their body can't stink. So we just went real left. But nonetheless, we're talking about setting boundaries and knowing when you're comfortable. If you don't brush your teeth or wash your body, I am not comfortable with you touching my body in any form. So, praise God. And basically we said to set boundaries, to sit down and write out what your boundaries are, what are hard boundaries, what are things that you are not ever willing to bend on, and what are things that are fluid boundaries. Like, what are things that, of course we can't kiss because I just met you, but we can kiss eventually. But it's a fluid boundary versus a hard boundary. Mario says some of those random people be like that body funk. Listen, if they got a dark ring around the collar of their shirts, that's what I'm saying, Lynn. No dove, no love. Wash your body. Hashtag wash your body. Hashtag brush your teeth. So, y'all cutting up today. And I just want I want it to be known that it's y'all and it's not me. But you're correct. We moving on. Because y'all cutting up. The song in the background said moving on. So, we moving on. Lachey's next question is about, and this is a good segue. She asked us to talk about why it's important to not ignore red flags. And that was a segue into knowing when to leave a relationship. But let's start with red flags. So, really, Lynn, no crest, no breast. Be ye clean. Yeah, they real carnal today, Trent. Body odor is definitely a boundary. Hey, Nella. Yes, Nella is fake behaving. She not going to behave for long because I know her in real life. But, so now we're talking about why it's important to not ignore red flags. And I mean, obviously, body odors are one of them. Don't ignore the flags. If you are to the point where you are dating this person and you are in their house frequently and it's never a washcloth that's wet or been used hanging up at the top of their bathtub, that's a red flag. Stuff like that. Yes, that's me cutting up. But seriously, red flags, if you ignore them, they become issues later. Like if it's an issue for you in the beginning, if it doesn't sit right with you from the get-go, it's not gonna change, especially if you don't address it. Like if it's a red flag, if it's something that you see that you do not like and you don't speak on it, then what happens when it becomes bigger and they looking at you like you crazy because you knew this, you saw me do this before and you didn't have an issue with it then, so why is it an issue now? Listen, that's a big red flag, Lynn. Check the bottom of that toilet base. If it's dirty, they not really cleaning their bathroom and you got to run away. But that's a real thing. I asked a question at my church a few years ago. I wanted to know what was the difference between a flaw and a red flag. And I think the difference is what you're willing to put up with. Because perfect people don't exist. Y'all know we say that all the time. You will never find the perfect partner. They're going to have something that is an issue. But is it an issue that you cannot deal with? Is it a deal-breaking issue? Or is it something that you're willing to help them with or willing to work around? Lisa says issues don't change unless you address them. One can turn into 1,000 if you don't address it. I totally agree with that. Things start out really small, but like I said, so let's use a very basic example. If you are dating somebody and you notice that when they come in the house, they take their shoes off right in the middle of the doorway and just leave them there. Okay, you kind of annoyed by it, but you step over it. You know, you move on because we still in the cute phase. We just had our first kiss because it's the second day. So we still in the cute phase where I can't really address it. But then when y'all get married, they stepping out of their drawers and just leaving them where they are. Like, those are things that have to be addressed. I'm going to read some comments. But yes, those are things that you need to address. And even if they don't change it right away, give them some time to work on it. But say it. Because if you do it, or if they do something and you don't address it, it's not an issue then. You okay with it. Mario says, if you see a red flag or think it's a red flag off the back and don't say something, and you end up married and headed to a divorce over these red flags. That's what I'm saying. Lynn, oh, that's a good one, Lynn. Lynn said, flaws are fixable. Red flags are set in their ways and not willing to change. I agree. And Lisa, I also agree with the fact that you have to give people some grace. Sometimes we say things and we expect you to instantly change. But if you've been doing this all your life, if you're 32 years old and you've been doing this all 32 years of your life, I can't expect you to undo it or unknow it in one day. But can you self-correct at some point? Is this something that we have to keep going back to? Or is it something that I may have to say it to you one time or a few times and then you start to self-correct? I think that's the grace that we have to be willing to give. Because people do need grace. We're not perfect. I'm going to do some things that get on his nerves just like he's going to do some things that get on my nerves. But if I know that it genuinely bothers him, I will make an effort to not do it or to not do it as much. So I think that's the difference between a red flag and a flaw. And Lachey, like they said, it's important to set your boundaries and to establish what's a red flag, what's a no, before you get too involved, before it gets serious and it goes from being a red flag to being a habit. That's what you don't want, because once it becomes a habit, then it's that much harder to break. So if you're going to address something, address it. And, you know, Be kind, be gentle, give grace, but address how you feel. Mario says, like, if you know, you're saying you don't want kids and you have a red flag that your partner possibly wants kids, but just saying no, check into that red flag. Yeah, stuff like that. So Mario's example is, if you meet a potential partner and you know that you do not want children, but they do, that's a red flag. That is a fundamental disagreement, and that is something that will cause major issues later if you disagree on them. So stuff like that is a red flag. We always look at red flags as like bad things or bad habits, but it could just be a fundamental disagreement or something that you can't come to a conclusion on. So red flags are not necessarily, being a messy person, or to me, a red flag would be, like you said, if they don't want kids and I do want kids, or if they have bad money management skills, or they disrespectful to their mama, like stuff like that. Those are red flags. Lisa says, keep it 100 with yourself. Be aware of your habits. I totally agree with that. A lot of times we tend to look at the other person. Well, their red flag is this and their flaw is this and they're not perfect in this way. But the reality is, baby, you got some flaws too. So it would be beneficial for single people to take some time and write out what they know their flaws are in dating or just in general, so that when they come up, it won't be so hard for you to accept. It's hard for anybody to say, I'm wrong, because that's just who we are. That's the type of generation and the type of society that we are. It's hard to admit that you are wrong or you are flawed in this way. However, hey Alexia, start to acknowledge your flaws and your bad habits now, so that when they come up in the conversation, and they will, you can admit them and say how you're working on them. Because don't just tell me that you got a flaw and you don't have a plan to fix it. Really share. Like when dude pushed Maddie Moss. That's what I'm saying. Like in the movie, in the Clark sisters movie, when he pushed Maddie Moss Clark down. Hey, Darwin, that was a red flag. And she should have left him there, because you don't push my mama down. If you're going to push my mama down, you're going to push me down. And that's a no. That's a red flag. And that's something that she should have looked into. I don't remember which sister that was. One of the sisters ran off with some man that pushed her mama down the stairs. Well, pushed her into the stairs. And it wouldn't be me, because if you put your hands on Gwen, it's going to go another way. I said what I said. Trent said that part. Self-awareness is absolutely key to addressing flaws and red flags. That's a real thing. Be self-aware. Oh, it was Twinkie. Yeah. Be self-aware, because if you can't be self-aware with yourself, like if you can't be aware of your own stuff, you don't have no business pointing out nobody else's business. Work on your own stuff, baby. Get your life in order, and then come try to help me. The one who was fruitful and multiply. You right, Lee. Oh, y'all cutting up. You're right. Sherris clearly wrote that script. Y'all clowning today. Anything else that we want to talk about with the red flags? So while I'm giving you a chance to give your last comment on red flags, we pretty much said to be mindful that people are going to be flawed, but a red flag is something that you will not put up with long term. Also, Lynn said that flaws are things that are fixable, and red flags are things that are more permanent. Reading the comments, Mario says, put your hands on Mama Gwen. Listen, let's be clear. Y'all know my daddy crazy. Anybody put their hands on Gwen, they gonna leave with a bullet and a body bag. Really serious. All right, we moving on. Y'all cutting up. I got 2 more questions and 20 minutes or less more to go. So hopefully we get through all of these. Yeah, actually I'm gonna give y'all 15 more minutes. I got a couple of announcements. But Brianna's question, this one shouldn't be too long. Before we go to Brianna's question, Lynn said money management. If they can't budget, it's not a flaw. That's a red flag. That's a huge red flag. You need to be able to manage your money. Have some fiscal responsibility about yourself. Because you can't come over here and push us into debt. I got enough student debt on my own. I'm trying to get out of debt, not get into more debt. So let's have some good money management. Also, communication skills. No, Lisa, you cannot do the announcements today. Maybe another day you can. But seriously, money management is a huge one, and communication skills are a huge one. If you notice early on that person poorly communicates, that's something to be addressed. If you notice that every time you tell them, this bothers me, this makes me uncomfortable, I don't like it, they get mad about it, or they deny it, or they get loud, or they get a little pushy, or things like that. If you notice communication issues really early on, that's not a flaw, that's a red flag, and it needs to be addressed. Communication is the key to any relationship working, not just a romantic one. Communication is the key to friendships, to familial relationships, to sibling relationships, to coworker relationships. You have to communicate. I use this example a lot, but my boss, she comes from a family of yellers. Like they talk really loud, and they don't mean any harm by it. They just loud talkers. And so she would come in, and her way of communicating, she would sit in her office and I would sit in mine, and she would like yell across the office like, hey, this blah, blah, blah. And although I talk loud, that's that Johnson in me, I don't like to be yelled at. Like I didn't come from a household where they yelled. So I literally had to sit down and tell her, like, listen, I know that the norm in your household is to talk this way, but that doesn't work for me. That makes me feel like you yelling at me, and I don't like that. And now we're in a much better place because I was able to communicate that. Now, had she came back like, I ain't yelling at you, I don't know what you're talking about, that's a communication issue, because what you're saying is what I feel is not valid. So, if you are not able to have conversations with a potential spouse like that, you probably should go ahead and leave them alone. Lisa says, kids already deal breaker or no? It's not a deal breaker for me. For some people it is. I don't have an issue with you having children already, as long as you take care of your kids. Hey, Brandy. I'm like, yeah, that's Brandy. I don't have an issue with that person having kids already, as long as you take care of them. If you're not fiscally responsible and you're not handling your responsibility as a parent, then how would I even expect you to handle your responsibility with me as a spouse? I'm going to leave that alone because I know that's a sensitive subject for some folks. Lynn says, if they have a prepaid phone bill, I don't trust them because they scared of commitment. Darwin says, what if you don't want to start off already pointing out the negative in people? So if you're getting to know someone and you see a few negative traits, but there are a lot of people with positive traits. Some people may look at that as someone ignoring all of the positives and looking at the negatives. So Darwin, this is what I say to that, because I don't disagree with you. You don't want to go in like pessimistic, and you don't want to just go in like you did that wrong and you said that wrong and I don't like that, I don't like that. What I'm saying though is that if you are getting to know this person and they do something that makes you uncomfortable, or something that is a big red flag for you, you should be able to at least talk about it. Like, hey, I noticed you said that, and I don't know if I agree with that. And then we can have a conversation about it. If you find too many negatives, then you shouldn't be dating them because you don't like them that much. If there's more negatives than positives, you need to go on and drop them at the wayside. It's a fine line of understanding that perfect people don't exist, but also not lowering your standards. I hope that makes sense. But it is a very fine line, because you don't want to go out pointing the negative, but What I would say is you got to keep some mental notes. Like, again, I'll go back to the shoe example. If you walk in the house and you step out of your shoes and just leave them in the middle of the walkway, that's something that would annoy me, but that's not something that I would just like totally dump you for. So I may make a mental note, and later on, if we become exclusive, I may say like, hey, you always step out your shoes and leave them in the walkway. Can you push them to the side? Like, you have to know not to address everything, but if it's a really, really big thing, address. Like if you know it's something that's going to be a major issue for you later, I would rather you address it up front. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Y'all know I'm a little long-winded. I'm reading some comments because I got to catch up now. Mario says, "Oh no, boss lady, let's have this meeting because." That's what I'm saying. Like, that was something I was able to talk out. Me and my boss were able to talk it out. That's my girl. I love her. But that's something that we had to talk out. Because, again, we communicate differently. So we have to find a way in the middle. Like, you have to find a way to compromise. Because that's how relationships work. I don't expect you to totally change who you are. And you shouldn't expect me to totally change who I am. But can we meet in the middle about this? Lisa says, don't settle, and I agree. So, what time is it? 7:47. I'm going to do one more question. Brianna, I'm sorry. I don't know if you're on here, but I'm going to come back to your question in another live because I think that deserves a lot of attention. And I want to do some more, honestly, I want to do some more research on this one. Brianna was asking about Black women on the front lines of every movement. And, I want to give that some more thought before I answer it publicly. So I'm going to come back to it, Brianna, if you're watching, I promise. But we're going to move on to Kayla's question. She's the last one I'll do for tonight. Kayla asked about men being intimidated by strong or vocal women. I think that is a very interesting concept because I feel like I'm a really interesting mix of introvert and extrovert. Like, I have some former students on here that I don't know if they would say I was loud or quiet, but I know that in some settings I am very extroverted. I am very outgoing. I am loud on a lot of occasions. But if you know me, if you are a close friend or a close family member, then you know that my typical person or my typical being is introverted. I am very quiet. I am very reserved. I like to sit back and watch. I would rather observe the scene and take in my notes and then react. So I don't know why men are intimidated by strong vocal women. Some men don't like to be overshadowed, I guess. I don't even know if that's a good word to use. But I think at the end of the day, it all boils down to preference. Some men are okay with a strong vocal woman. But there's also some things that, some like masculine things. Like there are some men that feel emasculated. Is that the right word? There are some men that feel emasculated when a woman is strong and vocal and upfront and bold and forward. And I'm sorry for you if you are one of those men that don't like an outspoken woman, because they the best. So it sucks if you are not privy to one of those type of women, because they will defend your honor. They will take care of you. I think that I wouldn't even say allow a man to be a man. I would say allow an adult to be an adult. Like, as someone who is very single right now, my future spouse, if he needs me to defend him, I will. But I expect him to be an adult. I don't expect to have to defend him in a whole lot of settings. So, it comes down to preference, like I said before. There are some men that like a strong, loud, vocal woman, and there are some men who don't like it. I don't like the stereotype that comes along with that, because a lot of people, and that's men, women, cats, dogs, whatever, a lot of people think that if a woman, especially a black woman, is strong or vocal or straightforward, they think that we are combative or insensitive. Like, those are the things that tends to come along with the stereotypes, I should say, that tends to come along with that attitude or that mentality. And that's just not the case. I think that you should really get to know a woman before you assume that she is strong or vocal and that she's going to emasculate you. Like, I'm not a man, so I'm trying to speak on it from my perspective, but I'm not a guy. So I need the guys to hop in the comments and tell me something, because I don't know. While I'm reading comments, Mario says, for my grammar school days, I was quiet until choir started, and I would totally flip. You are totally correct. My college friends are on here, and they can also attest. I am very loud when it comes to singing. Darwin says, what some men describe that they want to me seems like they want a slave. Somebody that's going to shut up and agree with everything that they agree with. And that's the thing, Darwin. If y'all thought y'all was finna get another slave, it ain't going to happen. Slavery been over for a long time. So, no, it's not going to happen. And I think that some men like a docile woman, a woman who's quiet and reserved, and let the man take the lead. Like I said, I'm a very even mixture of both sides of that. There are some times when I want the man to take the lead, and then there are some times where I'm okay with taking the lead because I'm an adult. It's okay. I got to handle my business. So, yeah, I think that some people have a very old-fashioned mentality, or maybe I shouldn't say old-fashioned, a very traditional mentality when it comes to dating and relationships. And if that works for you, if that floats your boat, be great. My parents definitely have a more traditional role that they play. When I look at my parents' relationship, and my parents have been married 46 years, I think. I believe it's 46 years. They have traditional roles. They both work, but they still both have traditional roles. So if that's what works for them, that's great. I don't expect my relationship to look like my parents' relationship, because I'm not dating my daddy. That's just weird and gross. So I don't expect my husband to be my dad. Now, do I expect him to have certain qualities that my dad also has? Absolutely. But I don't expect that. Mario says, I need a strong and vocal woman. I'm very outspoken, and I need someone to defend, but also correct me if I'm out of line. But then again, some friends also say I like to argue, and I need someone that's going to challenge me, because me with a quiet and timid woman would instantly make me be over the woman and not want to deal with her. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Some men like that. You need somebody that's going to challenge you. Be that intellectually, spiritually, mentally, whatever. Some men are up for the challenge, and I commend those of you who are. I agree, Mario. I could not see you with a real meek and quiet woman. That's just not your style. So, yeah. I'm gonna hop off of here, y'all. It's 7:55. I'm gonna make my comments, and then I'm gonna get off. Thank y'all for sharing and for commenting. Y'all know I always enjoy getting on here and talking to you. Just a few quick announcements. If you have not already, please submit your videos for the video challenge. All videos that are submitted will be featured on Instagram at some point. But the top 3, which we've already chosen one, so one has already been put on Instagram. So the top 2 now, once they've been submitted, they will be featured on Instagram, and they'll also get a prize from me in the mail. So yeah, pretty much the video is just a 1-minute video saying, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I like Singles Exchange because, or hi, my name is so-and-so, and I think that Singles Exchange is beneficial because. It's a really simple thing, literally 1 minute. You will share it to your own timeline with the hashtag Singles Exchanger, and then you will send it to the Singles Exchange inbox so that it can be added to my zip drive. So that's really all that you need to do to participate. The next winner will be announced on Sunday evening, and then next Sunday, July 5th as well, will be the last winner. So if you missed the first round, you still have 2 more chances to win the prize. So don't be discouraged. Also, if you haven't already, check out the podcast on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts and all of the other Anchor and Spotify, all those good ones. So, please, by all means, check out the podcast, send it to your friends, have a little conversation about it. I know me and my friends, when I'm looking for ideas for Singles Exchange, I sit around and bounce ideas off of my friends, so y'all can do the same thing. Lastly, I am in the process of ordering some merchandise. I have a meeting with somebody next week about t-shirts, and the mask, the Singles Exchange mask, will be in on Monday. So those will be going on sale by the end of next week is the plan. I will post pictures of them, and I'll post the price once I get them in on Monday. So y'all be looking out. There are a limited number of masks. I only ordered so many, so grab them while you can. And that's it. That's all I have. As always, I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. I always say I'm going to get on here every other week, and it never happens. But, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so cut me some slack. I love y'all, and let's exchange. Happy Friday.